Okay, here's yet another review video. This one's about solving rational equations. Okay, let's say we have something like this. We have 9 over 2x plus 1 equals 3. And we want to know what x is. So we need to solve for x. But we don't know what to do with that because x is in the bottom. If x is in the bottom of a fraction, we don't know what to do with that at all. That's just wild. So the first thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to get the x out of the bottom of a fraction. So in this case, if it's in the bottom of the fraction and you want to get it out, you got to multiply. So we're going to multiply both sides by 2x plus 1. And if there were more terms, so this we just have one term on the left of the equal sign and one term on the right. If there were more, like 2 on the left and 1 on the right or whatever, we would multiply, but we would multiply by everything. Okay. So when we do that, this cancels. Because that was why we multiplied in the first place, so that it would. So now we have a 9 equals, we have a 3 times 2x plus 1. So you could solve this one of two ways. You could either go ahead and divide out the 3, or you could multiply it out. So let's say we decided we were going to distribute. So we have the 9 over here stays. So now we have 3 times 2 gives us 6x. 3 times 1 gives us 3. Okay, this is looking a little bit more normal. So now we're going to subtract our 3 because we want that to go away. So we have 6 equals 6x. Now we're going to divide by 6 so that we could get the x all by itself. And we end up with x equals 1. And that would be our answer. So let's do another one. Let's do one that's a little uglier. So before we were saying that our first step is always to factor, and that's going to be true for these two. So let's say you have something like this. Let's say you have 2 over x minus 4 minus, let's make this really ugly. Okay, 3 over x plus 3 equals 2 over x squared minus x minus 12. Okay. There are a lot of x's in the bottoms on this one. This is kind of nasty. So we're going to follow our steps. Our first step is always factor. So let's put that over here. Step 1, factor. Well, in this case, the only thing we can really factor is this x squared thing. So let's factor that. So x squared minus x minus 12. Our a is a 1. Our b is a negative 1. And our c is a negative 12. A times c is negative 12. So we're going to factor that. We have 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4. Because the 12 is negative, one of the terms has to be negative, and because they're adding up to make a negative 1, we want the bigger factor to be negative. So in this case, 1 minus 12 gives us negative 11. That's not it. 2 minus 6 gives us negative 4. That's not it. 3 minus 4 gives us negative 1. That's what we want. So those are our factors. So we're going to rewrite that. So we go 2 over x plus 3, x minus 4, equals, we still have the same things over here. So we have 2 over x minus 4. I'm going to give myself a little bit of space because we're going to be multiplying. Minus 3 over x plus 3. Okay. So now our next step then for our steps is we want to multiply to get everything out of the denominator. And we're not just multiplying by one thing. We want to get like all the denominators to go away. So in this case, over here on this side, we have our x plus 3 and our x minus 4. So if you want to think of it in terms of common denominators, those would be our common denominators. So this one on the right, this is our LCD. So you're basically multiplying by your LCD. So we'll put that in parentheses. Okay, so then if we do that, so we have x plus 3 times x minus 4. And whatever we multiply by, we got to do it to everything. So this is also going to be x plus 3x minus 4. I'm going to put, doesn't matter what order you put it in, I'm going to put it like that. Over here, this is going to be x plus 3x minus 4. I still almost ran out of room. Let me slide this over just a little bit. There we go. X minus 4. Okay, Now let's cancel some stuff. Okay, so everything on the right side cancels. And we're left with a 2. On the left side, from this term, our x plus 3 goes away. From this one, our x minus 4 goes away. So now we're going to distribute. And let's do this one first. So we have 2 times x, 2 times 3. So we have 2x plus 6. Now this next one, you have to be careful. We have a negative in here. So the easiest mistake to make is to forget this negative. But you can't forget this negative. So we're really going to distribute a negative 3. So you're going to take this and you're going to distribute this to this. So we have negative 3 times x gives us negative 3x. Negative 3 times negative 4 gives us a positive 12. Okay. Almost there. So now we don't have any more denominators, so that's good. We're happy about this. So now we got to combine all of our like terms. Okay. So over here we have a 2x and a negative 3x. Well, 2 minus 3 is negative 1, so this gives us negative x. Then we have a positive 6 and a positive 12, so that's plus 18 equals 2. And we're solving for x, so we want to get the x on one side of the equals and all the numbers on the other. So let's subtract our 18. So we get negative x equals negative 16. We want our x to be positive, so we're going to divide by a negative 1. That's just going to get rid of our negative. We end up with x equals positive 16. And that's your answer.